metotra Riradinshi Ninde Gempadi Sange Shindu Mite Uwagi Trokun Namda Shimla Chuparsho Idam Guru Radhamandala Kanyatayami Chedan Soki Chonamla Jamshu Bardu Dagni Gyatsuchi Daki Chunyen Gipe Sunamki Chola Kenshir Sangye Druparsho Chedan Soki Chonamla Jamshu Bardu Dagni Gyatsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunamki Chola Penchir Sangye Druparsho Chedan Soki Chonamla Jamshu Bardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunamki Chola Penchir Sangye Druparsho.
Look at Kia Kaito.
Wow.
Yay. Good boy.
Okay, so emptiness meditation's in like the unenviable spot of right after lunch.
Yeah.
But
This is the dead boy.
yeah, right. So you know we're talking. Chuli Lama is going through all the different schools and talking about how we determine the lack of self nature to things and people. And with Prasangaka, he started off with people, the emptiness of the person, and he's used the sevenfold reasoning, aka the chariot, for talking about the emptiness of the person, which is, kind of unusual because it's a thing. The card is a thing. So why did Chuni Lama, what does he say is the reason why that he said we should use the sevenfold reasoning in finding the
people,
lack of the self-nature of the persons? I'm trying to talk as much as possible so people could think.
I know all the time I need to figure out I don't know.
It was very specific, right?
Well, it was a section of the text, and actually it's the section of the text we started with, so many days ago.
We were talking about reflections, that's what we started with, right?
Oh no, that's way at the end. Yeah, that was at the
Oh,
end.
you mean not last session?
No. It was
term.
at the end of September 11th, but at the beginning of September 11th, our first class this term, he did talk about why.
Because it's kind of like babes.
That's a decent answer.
Yeah.
Something about parts.
It's called
not
damning
parts.
with faint praise.
So he says if you use the metaphor of a cart, you can logically perceive that the person lacks a self-nature. And then he quotes Lamrim Chenmo, which says that by examining the cart, you can quickly penetrate the depths of what it means to lack self-nature. So like this particular syllogism is like it's a knife, right? It cuts right to the core. And so therefore he says this is, this analysis appears to be extremely crucial.
Good.
So now, this one may be tricky too. So how does J. Norsang Gyatso describe the steps of the 7-point reasoning? Like in a general sense, not the 7, I don't want the 7, but like how do you use this syllogism? Like what do you have to do first, what do you have to do second, and then what is the result of having done that? Oh, you guys, you want me to tell you because then I get the karma of speaking it, so that's great.
Yeah, we're making it for you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's try and figure it out. What's the first thing you have to do? You're confronted with a syllogism that says, oh, here are 7 relationships that you're going to investigate to determine whether something has a self-nature or not. So, like, what's the first thing you do?
I'm just wondering if something when you explained there was the yogurt in the bowl and then the bowl,
Uh,
thing in the bowl.
Somewhere on this,
like,
So if you want to establish that,
there's no reference.
Doesn't
if you
exist
want to
by name.
establish things have in self-nature, then you have to examine the sequence one by one.
okay, that's the second step.
One
But
of these,
before you do the one by one, Ben,
one of these steps should be that you establish that there are only 7 options.
yes,
Yeah.
that if you were to go through these 7 options, if something did not fit in these 7 relationships,
Then there could
there could
be a
not
thing.
be a self-existent.
You gotta establish that there's a left side of the room and the right side of the room,
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, once you've then established that, then you go through the 7 and you're looking to see, can you find a self-nature to the thing that you're using to examine? And then, what's the result of having done that? So you find emptiness only after searching for and not finding self-existence. That's what
Yeah.
Jane Mosangas says.
Yay.
Okay, so this was an easy quiz, there's only 2 questions. So we're going right into Tibetan now. Those
Yay.
had 3 parts each, so I thought it sort of evened out to.
TSW, yeah. If you know.
Easy number.
You could get 8.
Yeah, right. Name nu ayin.
Definitely can do the thing.
Boo.
Remember what it is that we're concerning ourselves with in this text right now, right? We're using logic. So
You'll
how would
definitely
this
ascertain.
phrase?
You'll ascertain.
Nope.
Able to.
Nope. Well, specifically what Geshe-la said is that you're able to perceive.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that is able to ascertain.
It's almost like work out, or able to work it out.
You
Not
guys
the-
have it this one. Think near du pokpa.
Very quickly penetrate to the depths.
Very
Whoa, that was quick.
Yeah. He's near.
He quickly
Near to.
penetrated to the depths.
And this one is easy too. Word, separate word. Can someone give me one?
This is the one I
Greatly naked.
Ah, naked.
totally naked. Yeah.
You gotta say naked.
I was trying to explain it to V, and she's like, I don't like that one.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yay!
You may take the plane.
Thank you.
The picture, yeah, what is it?
Oh, it's
Binoculars.
it's a metaphor of searching for something.
Okay, cool.
Let me see.
Oh,
Oh, it's too late.
Binoculars.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah. I must have done somebody wrong. I hate this keyboard. What's the keyboard? How do you plan a new keyboard?
I don't like this keyboard either. I think I would have the same one.
Too old, son.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Am I blocking anybody?
Okay, go. Here we go. Fasten your seatbelt.
Suksok rangshinki tongyang marepe lepe sokye wangpoe shipa ngala suksok nangwa na rangitseni ki drupar nangwa mato nang suo shen minjung kwe.
Nice. Nice pronunciation. God bless you. All right. Suksok.
Form and
Form and
stuff.
stuff.
Visible.
Visible form and stuff.
But I'll tell you something. It's almost equal to shija. You see, just so you know, when they say physical matter, etc., it's almost a synonym for yupa. You see what I mean? So treat it that way. It's meant to say everything the way is. Okay, all right. Rangshinki tong. Empty of any nature of their own. Okay. Yang, but our Wang Poi Shepa Nga.
Sense consciousness.
Yeah, our five sense consciousnesses are lepa. This is the hard word.
Faulty?
Oh, I should.
Infected or polluted or something. Messed up, skewed by not understanding. Okay, not so. So when colors and shapes, etc., appear to those senses. By the way, this suk
Those consciousness.
is almost like the objects of the five sense powers. So you're going to have to translate it slightly differently than the suk sok you started with. When you start a sentence with suk sok, it's almost like all the stuff in the world, but he just limited it to the five consciousnesses based on your physical organs. So you might want to. It's possible you could even translate the second suk sok differently from the first suk sok, is what I'm saying. Meaning visible things, etc. Now. The second suk sok means visible things, etc. The first suk sok meant, matter, etc. Okay? Okay, when they appear to you, by the way, is this the nangwa where it appears to you from the object side, or is this a nangwa where the mind takes on a certain aspect? I would say that. Yeah. The way stuff appears to you is as if they ranghi dupa.
Existed by
Yeah.
in and of themselves.
Now, mato, when used as with a negative following it, means specifically that way and only that way. That way and never any other way. Okay, so this matok doesn't mean but for. It means things only appear that way and never any other way. Okay. Okay. It's almost like but for that way, there's no other way they appear. But it's meant to be very strong. So the talk is a little you're gonna have to. Talk will trip you up the first 4 or 5 years because we had it as de par talk, de comes talk, included into the desire realm. Now we have it as just a kind of an adverb, except for this way of appearing to you, it never appears any other way. Okay, got it? And it's very common in modern Tibetan. So if you want to learn to speak Tibetan, matok is a very, very useful expression to use. Ko kukpa matok, ko hako wiyure. No, if he hadn't have been a fool, he might have understood. But for the fact that he's an idiot, he could have understood. Or something like that. I don't know why I came up with that example. Okay. Nangsul Sheng Minjung. Yeah, they never appear any other way. Okay? They only appear as if they were coming from their own side. And he's talking red, round, loud noise, soft noise, smell good, smell bad. And he's talking about taste, salty, taste, all of them. When you have those experiences, they are infected, lepa, with the belief that they're coming from their own side. So, especially in the highest school of Buddhism, Prasangika, middle way, they believe that the infection by believing that things come from their own side got into your sense organs. If they cut off your brain, your eyeballs would still make the mistake. Okay, it's very and when you read Vasubandhu on the Wheel of Life, he talks about it for 50 pages or something. In the Wheel of Life teaching, there are no neutral links in the sense of misunderstanding. They're all infected. The empty houses are infected. The contact with the outside world is infected. The feeling about the outside world is infected. They're all infected. When we teach that thing about physics, a better history of time. When I teach a better history of time, I like to talk about the wheel of life thing, that because of where they came from, your eyeball is infected. Your ears are infected. And that's a higher school thing, you know. You would think that, look, if I'm just looking at this green eyeglass cover, Geshe-la, I'm not making bad karma. Well, you are. Because you are misunderstanding it. Just your eye is misunderstanding it. Before you think about it, your eye is misunderstanding it. So it's really bad. Things are really bad. And what he says here is, it never appears to you any other way. Ever. In your whole life. Okay.
He said social care in the beginning.
Did he say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Social care.
Okay. So the point is, in the higher schools, the infection which is obviously in your mind has spread to your physical organs. It's in your ear, it's on your tongue, okay? Like that. Okay, keep going. Oh, here he says it's Sosokyo.
And here he's giving us more detail about Chikdudra, right? Yeah.
Say again?
This little section right here is giving us
Oh, he's
more
still on
detail,
Chikdudra?
ammunition for
Okay.
Chikdudra.
Cool.
Tangirwe, Kyapndir.
Cup.
Oh, sorry. Kapndir.
Nice come dear, yeah.
Rangchak Sokye, Shengor Sutra So. Nangwa. Ni. Yeme. Nang Sutar Dupat. Dika Rangtaki Kakcha. Yin She Shepar. Nangwe. Nangwe.
Yeah. Okay, Tangir wake up, dear, come. By the way, she did it perfect, which is unusual for anybody. I'm not saying you. The prenasal for a B is M. But if it ends in a B and it's heading into an N, it goes to M again for some reason. Come dear. If you want to sound really good to a Tibetan monk, say come dear. You don't say kap dear. It also sounds like come dear. Okay. And it sounds like you're from Lhasa. I was in the hospital and I had an operation, and when I woke up, this lady was standing there, and in a white smock, you know, and she said, "I'm your doctor. I'm your floor doctor. You know, I'll be taking care of you this week as you recover." And I said, "Nice to meet you." And I said, "What's your name?" And she says, "Sering." My name is Sering. Long life. And I said, "Are you Tibetan?" And she says, "Yes." And I'm like, "You're a Tibetan doctor named Long Life, come to take care of me just after my operation, am I right?" You know, and she says, "Yes." I never met her before, you know. And then I felt like an angel came, you know. And we start talking in Tibetan for 2 hours. And then at the end she says, "You have a perfect accent. Your accent is Lhasa. My accent is Kamandu." You know, her mother was Tibetan. So, but if what I'm saying is what you're learning is the best accent of Tibetan. The standard. Okay, just by accident. My teachers were all from Lhasa. Okay, so come dear, got it? Then you can impress your doctor at the hospital. Oh, come dear. She wants to come and see she wants her children to see people respecting their culture. So we got to remember to invite her, okay?
Not respecting our culture, respecting her culture.
Yeah. No. I said, "How many Tibetans in Tucson?" She says, 2. I'm like, "There's how many people? 500,000 people?"
500,000.
Yeah, I'm like, out of 500,000 people, I meet you. Okay, I understand. Ranchak Soke. Yeah, come dear. Here in the Prasangika explanation, right? In the context of the Prasangika, Rangchak, us guys, Soke, he's being modest, humble. If he were an Arya, he might still say Soke Rangchak. You and me, who haven't seen Emptiness yet, is what it says. Okay, you guys like you and me who haven't seen Emptiness yet, to our senses, Shengor, to our senses, Sungdra so things like visible things, hearable things, and when it's with Dra, you must translate it as visible thing, okay, as opposed to physical thing. Nangwa ni yema. What's the moon?
Admittedly,
Yeah, now everybody knows that, and it's not wrong to say, even in the Prasangika context, that stuff is appearing to you. Red, blue, square, round, things are appearing to you. But yema, there's no problem with that. But you should understand that nangsotar drupa, the blue or the white or the sweet sound. We love the piano song, by the way, by the Japanese guy. And then we checked all his other songs and they weren't the same. Okay. Nangsul tar trupa means what percent of that blue color or round shape really exists the way it appears? What percent exists the way it appears? 0. Yeah. So he says, nangsul tar drupa, for something to exist the way it appears, is the gakcha. That's the gakcha. Okay? Something that could appear to normal people the way it really is wrong. No such thing. Now, he does something very interesting here. He didn't say gakcha. No, he didn't say just gakcha. Yeah, digarang. No, by the way, yeah, taki gakcha, rikpe gakcha, as opposed to namge gakcha. Okay, there's two kind of gakchas. You all heard the word gakcha. You all know that gakcha means what is emptiness is empty of. But there's two kinds of gakchas, if you want to go deeper. There's two kind of gakchas. One is the one we proved doesn't exist, and that's the husband who, I didn't do anything husband. It's called logical gakcha. But then there's the lamki gakcha. What do you seek to cancel through your personal spiritual practice? What do you seek to cancel through your personal spiritual practice? It's also called gakcha. And that's misunderstanding. And that does exist. Okay? So that one's not what emptiness is empty of anymore. That gakcha means something you want to stop. Got it? So don't automatically translate gakcha as the thing that emptiness is empty of. See if it's referring to lamki gakcha. He wanted us to know it didn't refer here to the lamki gakcha. I'm not talking about the one that exists, which is your ignorance. I'm talking about when the husband I didn't do anything husband, that could not exist the way it appears. Okay? In this. Oh, say digarang. Digarang. You know, that in itself is the gakcha. Digarang. Yeah, you gotta say it all together. It's a very colloquial. That's the one. It's digarang. That's the one. You want a gakcha? That's the one. What? The way the cup appears to you. Whoa. Or a cup that could be the way it appears to you. Digarang. You want a gakcha? That's a gakcha. Digarang. Digarang means this itself. Digarang is the gakcha. You guys want a gakcha? It's the last cup of coffee you had. Whoa. Okay. Yin she shepa is the position taken by the prasangikas. Now you can translate it as apparently, which means you're not quite sure, but of course he's sure. So we can see. You can translate it as we can see. Yeah, or obviously, yeah, we can see that this is the position of the, okay? Yeah, be careful translating it as I think, or it appears to be, yeah. Yeah, apparent is perfect. Apparent is perfect. To call it apparent is perfect. It's an unapparent apparent. The apparent of the, anyway. Apparent is a perfect translation. Okay, here we go. Rolling.
So ki she more nangwa tarma dute nangwa tar chik dan nangwa tar hade kangrung tuma dupe.
Okay, very forced and artificial sentence, okay. I'm going to get that chiktuda in there somewhere. Okay. And it feels like he crammed it into a square peg into a round hole or something. Digopese. And when we gok that gakja,
And we deny that.
yeah, and when we deny that thing to be denied, which now we're talking about the husband, I didn't do anything, husband, okay? Bumbalat sun, what's that sun mean?
For example,
And in words text, we had sun nun yesterday for $20.
so, like a knife that stabs into.
Good, yeah. Which is the usage of sun in another person's famous book.
Say Jesus.
Damn. $20 shopping. Where is shopping? Yeah, who else? Bumbalat sun. So here it means,
For example, we take the example.
yeah, good, yeah. If we wanted to take the example of a water cup or a coffee cup, sunna, de chechen. Let's take that bumpa, okay? So the day is bumpa, which is useful to know. Soso ke wishe ngola.
So to the face of.
Yeah, to the perceptions, to the perceptions of a normal person, non-Arya. By the way, don't use non-Arya in your translation. That's not a translation. Yeah, that's a mongrel. That's half English, half Sanskrit. Okay. If you want to lose a reader, put non-Arya. If you don't like readers, put non-Arya. And you don't want to sell our books. Okay, it's okay, Shingor. I'd say someone who has, if it's me, I would say someone who hasn't seen Emptiness directly. Sometimes you gotta use a clause. Okay.
Can you just say ordinary people?
You can definitely say that. Yeah, I'm sorry, you could say that. Yeah,
I was thinking that, but
yeah, or normal people.
people might not know that. That might still.
Well, that's why you gotta have a big footnote before that. Yeah, I think after you footnoted it, it's okay to use normal people for sosokyo. So the first time you have to footnote it. Then you can use normal people. But if the flow of the sentence is better, if the person will understand the sentence better, you do have carte blanche. You're the translator, If you feel it would flow better, then you can say someone who hasn't seen Emptiness directly yet, but make sure you're in the right school, because like Abhidharma people don't say emptiness. Okay, all right. So, Shengor, Nawatar, Madhu.
It's not established the way it appears. It doesn't exist the way it
Good.
appears.
It doesn't exist the way it appears. Why? Because it's not one that exists the way it appears, and it's not more than one that exists the way it appears. So he wanted to get one and many in there, and he did. But the sentence is totally artificial. Okay? Hey, take this coffee cup, Gibson. It doesn't really exist. Why? Well, because it's not a single self-existent coffee cup, and it's not more than one self-existent coffee cup. Get it? Okay, got it? No. Nawatar, it doesn't exist as one thing which exists as it appears, and it doesn't exist as more than one thing, which is here separate, right? He doesn't say Duma.
Oh, that's right. He made that switch.
Separate things, you can say separate things. It doesn't exist. And be careful that the ma doesn't get read with the droop and the ma gets read with the do. Okay, all right. There's the do. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It is.
It is madrup. Yeah, sorry. Okay, it's not do madrup. Okay, it's kangrung tu, comma, madrup. Okay. All right, here we go. The guy says kavamachung, which means, okay, you ready? He says kavamachung, understood answer. He says, just because the coffee cup isn't one thing that exists from its own side, and it's not many things which exist from their own side, doesn't mean it doesn't exist from its own side. Yeah, okay? Just because it's one thing that doesn't exist from its own side, and it's not many things that exist from their own side, you can't say it doesn't exist from its own side, implying there's another choice between one and more than one. Okay. Kyapte.
Weren't you paying attention? I explained this earlier.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut this off. Okay, it should be cut off here. Kyabangar tardu.
I already established that earlier.
Yeah, if it's not a single thing that comes from its own side, and it's not more than a single thing that comes from its own side, does su not come from its own side? Because we already proved that back when. Okay, ngar tar. Or you could translate this as is to be proved in the way we did it before. Okay,
That term is future.
this is future tense, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
대조전. 응왕와 탈직 두. 오, 두. 마 drupte. Rangi dakshi la takpe takchut samyinbeje. We got a possible
Say again?
spelling.
Where?
Chiktu.
No, this is not a misspelling.
As one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, chiktumadrup. Yeah. Okay. Dechichen. What is the example?
The coffee cup.
Coffee cup. Bumba. Nawata chiktumadrupte. It doesn't exist as a single thing that is the way it seems. Okay. Because this is a tough phrase and it's extremely important. Okay. So. Dakshi means the two parts of the pen, the top of the pen and the bottom of the pen. The thing you're going to give the name is called dakshi. Okay, the parts before they get the picture. The parts before they get the picture is called dakshi. What's going to get the name, and name in Prasangika means a mental picture coming out of your karmic seed. Okay? If you say it that way, you just said a sentence better than any Buddhist translation ever done into English. Okay, really. No one understands it. Okay? It's not about naming things. That's not the point. The point is, it's picturing things. It's laying pictures on things. And the big point is dependent origination. Those pictures are coming from how you treated people last week. Got it? And if you don't say it that way, then everything is... The book is almost useless, okay? All right, here we go. Daichichen, nawatar chitamadupte. It doesn't exist as a single thing in the way it appears to because it's just an entity, okay, existing thing, which has been created through the process of a picture being put on the parts. Okay? And you got three forms of verb dok here. The present tense is dokpa, right? Dok is future tense, to be labeled, which is the parts of the pen. The stuff which is going to gracefully receive your picture when you send it. But you haven't sent it yet. Okay, so the dakshi, future tense, to be labeled, has been labeled, and is now a labeled thing, meaning a finished product, a pen. Okay, got it?
So the takpa is the finished product.
Which has been labeled and now it's a label thing, takcha. Okay, so takcha is the result of the labeling process when you apply a picture from your karmic seed to the parts. The parts are called the thing we're gonna put the picture on, which is called dakshi. And then the verb of sending the picture to the parts is called batakspa. Okay, all right, which has been labeled. We call it labeling, but it's really the picture is put on the parts. The dog has a different picture. They label the same dakshi. Okay, the dakshi is the same. What's the same? The parts are the same. Top of a cylinder and bottom of a cylinder. The parts are the same, but the dog has a different dokche. Seed, labeler, okay? So he talks it differently. He has talked it differently, and so he comes up with a different tak ch labeled thing, which is now a chew toy. Got it? So the tak ch for a dog is a chew toy, right? The dakshi for a dog is the same as the dakshi for a human. The stuff being labeled, okay?
Can we really say that this
Hmm. No, I would say that.
Well, you can say, because
No, they are black or white cylindrical objects. It's just colors and shapes. No, but yeah. If they can't perceive colors, then yeah, it's different. Yeah. Yeah. If it's a red pen and they can't perceive colors, it's different. I agree. Yeah. But I mean, in general, it's very cool to say it's the same. It's the same stuff with a different picture. Okay, because that really gets into the feeling of it's coming from you, especially your problems, your tutors. That could have been pens. Okay, all right.
So you put the karmic seed translation in the footnote?
Now that's a call by the translator. That's a call by the translator. Do you mention the word karmic seed here? Or do you mention the word picture? I probably would not. You know.
I think like we've already discussed it, but I'll go back and look and make sure.
Yeah,
Because he's
I
just doing like additional points about this syllogism.
don't think it's his main point about the karmic seed. Yeah. So I think it might be putting words in his mouth. And we have to be careful not to do that also. It's a balance. It's a balance. But put enough information that your audience will learn something. Okay, kyapte. So somewhere there he said makyap. Anybody want to try kyabalok?
if something,
Just because something
is a top two,
I like to call it, and personally when I translate, I like to say, if something is the result of the labeling process,
it must be,
then,
it must be parts that have been labeled.
no nawatar chitu madu.
just because something
So it's not
is a labeled thing that came into being through being labeled doesn't mean that it doesn't
Good.
appear the way it is.
Yeah, that it doesn't not appear the way it is, or something like that.
Doesn't mean that
That doesn't, anyway. Just because something
In a way other than
is produced by mental pictures doesn't mean it can't be one entity which appears the way it exists, okay? Which appears the way it does. Which exists the way it appears. Okay, here we go. Kyapte. Take your time. I will drink this delicious coffee. Where is this coffee from?
kyapte sokie shengor bum so rangi takshi la takpe takchu sam to mi nangwar takshi kam takchu mi shekpe suki rangu ne drupar nangwe.
This is kind of radical, and I'm not sure I would even say it this way, but it sure gets you thinking. It's gonna sure get you thinking. Okay, here we go. Kyapte soke shengor to the perceptions, and I think we do say that in English, to the perceptions of a person who hasn't seen emptiness directly yet. Okay, things like coffee cups, and please don't say coffee cups, etc. Etc. is rarely used in English, and sok is used constantly in Tibetan. So don't over etc. your audience. You can use a few, but don't use it every time you see sok. Okay, you can say stuff like things like coffee cups. They do not appear minawa as if they were just a takcha, a result of the labeling process. Okay. They do not appear that way, okay? When you look at the parts, dakshi, the thing to receive the name or the thing to receive the pictures, right? They don't appear as if they are what you are labeling. It doesn't appear that way, but what does appear to you, this is now, here comes a radical statement. What a,
But is dung here?
sorry again?
Where's the butt?
But is dung here?
The
Oh, mean on war.
without appearing, it's a but.
Yeah.
Okay? Rather than appearing that way, the way they do appear is as though the dakshi, listen, it's as though the dakshi and the dakcha were the same thing. It's as if the thing that got the name, before it got the name, and the thing that was created after the name was applied, or the picture, were the same thing, and that's ignorance. Okay? Okay? It always appears to you as though the parts were making the pen rather than the picture was making the parts to the pen. Okay? I'll say it again. It always appears to you as though the parts made the pen, and it never appears to you as though your karma seeds are opening and making the parts into a pen. Okay, got it? It's cool. In Tibetan, it's very poetic. Dak shi, dak chu ni, miche petsu. It appears as though they were indivisible. Okay, it appears as though they were married to each other. Okay. Oh my God, you're giving talk to me.
Weaves in with Chichitra.
Maybe, yeah, maybe not, yeah. Yeah, chichira, yeah. Which is to say, okay, when you say they appear as if they were married, that is to say as well that they are appearing rangune. From their own side. From their own side. He said some radical stuff here. He said the thing before it got the picture appears as though it were the thing that after it got the picture. And when a thing before it got the picture appears the same to you as the thing after it got the picture, then I can accuse you of thinking that things come from their own side. He's tied them together. We often say in Daimon or something, you have ignorance. Why? You think it's coming? You think the husband's coming from his own side. But he just equated coming from its own side with the raw data being the pen, and the raw data being the pen after your karma seed makes it the pen, is equal to thinking it comes from its own side. That's very cool. That sentence is awesome. That sentence is a book in itself. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Shenya, moreover, chache, tanche, chikdu,
Tell Wang.
Tell Wang, Peno.
Yeah. Now this is tough. All the separate workings of things. If you're correct, if the thing being a pen before you name it a pen were true, then all the workings of things, all the separate functioning of all objects would be one. All objects would work the same way. A car would fly. Okay. Oh. No, this pen means telwa pen. The absurd consequence would be put forth. This pen means the absurd consequence would be implied. No, there's another word. It means would be thrown forth. It would incur. You would incur the absurd consequence that cars could fly, and planes could, go to car races, and I guess they could.
This is not a contingent, probably, right? There's some specific reason why you say no.
Yeah, now you can either lazily translate it and go on, which is what I'm gonna do, or you can explore why specifically the functioning of things would be all glued together if things came from their own side, because the thing before it got the name was exactly the same as the thing after the name. Okay, that someone could write an essay about that. Okay, well, what's that got to do with then all things would work the same way? You got to chew on that one. That's worth a meditation.
Is it likely that you can read it as all the parts of that particular thing would have that function?
It's possible. It's possible. Nah, but it feels much more universal. Yeah. But it is true that the side of the pen would write as well as the tip of the pen, if that were the case.
Like literally the doing, or like
Actions and doers.
actions and doers?
Yeah, things done and people doing. Chawa dangche papo is the full form. I like to translate it as the working of things. Yeah, yeah. No, he doesn't say that. Yeah, he could say that. He would say Jawa dan chepopo ni tsung or something like that. So when he says chache, he specifically wants to say the working of all things. He doesn't want you to split it. It's an idiom, you know. The way things work, you know. Okay.
Kind of like that objection when somebody says, "Well, you could turn water into butter."
Yeah.
Well, that's your problem.
That's your problem. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
takna ma deta. Bum so kichu tamche kyang rang rang kitak shi tendu ming de shak sam.
Ming Day. Ming Day.
Ming de shak sam yin de che.
What was the Tagnama?
Yeah.
What did you say? What's the day?
He says the previous proof, the previous syllogism.
One we just did with
Yeah. I think he wants us to go back to the no, not way back. He wants us to go back to the Takpe Takchut Samyin Beichur. Okay? He wants us to go back 3 lines. Okay? He wants us to go back to the first thing on the screen here. I think. You see? How many times has he said cheer in the last 3 lines?
Well,
3,
No, 2.
3 out of 4. Oh, 3 out of 2.
No,
2 out of 3.
he says cheer in the first one.
you there.
He says cheer in the second one.
Also true.
He doesn't say cheer in the third one. So when he says the previous cheer, I believe he's talking about these first 2 lines here. The first 2.
Previous to the last one.
Yeah, exactly. He wants you to skip 1 talk back, 1 syllogism back. Okay? In my opinion, okay? Tag Lama Derta.
All wrong keys.
Okay, yeah, tell me about it. Because he's heavy on the Dakshi and the Dakcha, and I think he's going back there. Okay? He uses the same language exactly. Okay? So I think we can safely go back there. Tangama Derta. The former proof is correct? Is correct? The former proof is correct? What was the former proof if you want to know? Take the coffee cup. It does not exist as a single thing which exists the way it appears. Because, yeah, it's just a labeled thing created to the process of putting a label on the parts to be labeled. Okay? Then we say, I don't agree. He says, I don't agree. And then we say, it is so because, now here we go, boom, so. Did you read it already? Okay. Because things like coffee cups and every other thing in the universe, which is, to me, sometimes a very highly desirable translation of Chitamje, all stuff. Rangraki Dashi Tendu, they are Mingde Shaktam. They are merely labeled with names and terms on their parts which are meant to receive the label, which are destined to receive a label, dakshi. Okay, the parts which are destined to receive a label are labeled, and that's how they exist. Okay, that's how they come to exist. Now, the only question, and you're familiar with the question, is well, what's the difference between name and term? Anybody want to go?
The word and the image.
Yeah, the word and the picture, which is rang tsemba. We're gonna have it. Somebody, which one takes priority?
Oh, the
Day,
mental image.
day.
The da. Yeah, this is instrumental. Take off the s.
Yeah,
Yeah, the da. The da is the important one. Names can, you can call a rose by another name. We're talking about the result of buying perfume for your wife. The smell of the rose. Got it? Okay? Okay. Right? Okay. Right, Vimala? Buying perfume. Yeah. Causes a rose to smell good, right? That's why roses smell good. Okay, something like that. Or you made good-smelling mooncakes for people. All right. Okay. By the way, I mean that's one of my favorite. Mingde Shaksam is totally the most common expression in Prasangika. Exists only through names and terms. But term here means mental picture coming out of a karmic seed. Okay? And you gotta know that. You gotta keep harping on that to your students, okay? Or they will never understand this point. You have to tie emptiness to dependent origination. You have to tie emptiness to morality. Okay? To being good to other people, to compassion, right? If you don't, you don't understand emptiness. Okay? Alright, here we go. Dad Tao.
Yeah, so he comes in and says, like, no.
Right?
We say, they're pal.
Yeah.
Zhi tang che che dak chi rang dok min pa shen shi ki teneng jo teneng jo vu pe che.
Yeah, this is a tough sentence. That is so the case. What is so the case? That things are just collections of parts that have been established through names and terms, okay? That is so the case because everything in the universe, Dakshi Rando Mimba, is not the collection of parts in and of itself. I would say Rangdok here, I wouldn't try to make it some sutrist, manifestation of the archetype. I wouldn't go there. The opposite of all it's not. I wouldn't go there for Ladok here. It just means in and of itself. Okay? Not all the things in the universe are not things that exist in and of themselves. Rather, they exist in relationship to other things, meaning dependent. Okay? From tengne means from other things, literally from on top of other things. But in this construction, tengne means on the basis of. Okay, on the basis of. So don't translate as tengne as top of the table or something. It's an adverb. It's like oktu, means later on in the book. It doesn't mean below. Okay. It's the same as oktu, tengtu, on the basis of. Okay.
Because you have to protect them?
Yeah, on other things. Things are always established relative to other things, and it's not the case that everything in the universe is the thing before it got the name, is the collection of parts before it got the name, although that's what ignorance thinks. Okay? Because the ignorance, the thing after it got the name, and the thing before it got the name seemed to be identical. And that was his big breakthrough statement. Yeah, okay? Oh. Well, to be continued. Yeah, thank you. What's kind of happening with everybody's text is the authors are settling down into the correct view, which is a lot easier to translate. It's not like, oh, great, Gyaltsab I hope Gyaltsab is finished with all his problems. Yeah, let's see. V's like, this guy, Gyaltsab J, every time you work on him, you get not irritated, you get agitated. I'm like, yeah. She can tell which author I'm working on. Are you doing Gyaltsab J? Yeah, how'd you know? You look agitated. She doesn't know what's Gyaltsab J. Maybe. Ijashin metotam Miramin shininde empani Sangye shindu mite uagi Rokunanda shinla chepasho Iranguru rana mandala kamyatayami Di kewo kun Senang yeshe tsozoshi Senang yeshe lechungwe Tampa kuni topasho Shoni Shmogi, yay, Choni Lama. We have a proposal to cut the C off his name. Honey Lama. He's Chone Lama, right? Now we decide, at home I call him Honey Lama. Yeah, okay.